To make hash browns, you'll need potatoes. So first, we gotta peel the skins. Skin on hash brown is not an option. You can peel with anything, but I have a vegetable peeler here. The potatoes must be cleaned. Try to remove any black spots as you can, but I'm too lazy, so Once you're done, put your potatoes in a bowl of water. This will prevent the potatoes from becoming brown. Once it's all finished, we can throw the water away. Now, I'm putting a cheesecloth under the potatoes. You'll see why later. Next, we're gonna grate the potatoes. I'm using a box grater because that's the only one I have, but you can use anything. As you can see, I'm going ham with the potatoes here. Make sure you really grate it and get all the potatoes out. Try to push through the small bits if you can. If you can't bother, then just toss it away. If some potatoes are still stuck in the grater, reach it with your hands. Oh, I forgot to mention that you gotta put some water while you're grating it. And now with the cheesecloth, we're gonna remove all the moisture that's in the potatoes. Make sure you squeeze it ever so tightly. The hash browns won't be crispy if there's a lot of water inside it. As you can see, the potatoes are all dry and nice here. Look at how it all breaks apart easily. Now we're gonna pre-cook our potatoes. Here I have a non-stick wok, but you can use anything. Turn the heat to medium, put some oil in the pan. We're gonna cook our potatoes like this. Some people deep fry or boil the potatoes, but I think this is easier and faster. We're gonna saute the potatoes until they're cooked. Now keep stirring and don't leave the potatoes on one side. We gotta ensure that the potato cooks evenly. Since we're not deep frying or boiling, we gotta keep stirring until the potatoes become translucent, like this. Remove from the heat and set it aside. Now I'm gonna season the potatoes inside the same pan to minimize dishes. Put some salt in and some cornstarch, like 20 grams, 3 tablespoons. The cornstarch will help bind the potatoes. Now we're gonna mix the whole thing together while it's still warm. The potatoes are still kind of hot, so I'm using a spatula and some gloves to mix it together. Now taste it if it needs more salt or more seasonings. I'm gonna add some black pepper and some garlic powder. Then mix it again and again. I don't think you're supposed to do this, but I'm kneading the dough as if it's like bread dough. Now we can proceed to shaping the hash browns. I'm rolling into a ball to estimate one portion size. If it looks like the size of one hash brown, then you're good. You can then proceed to shaping the hash brown. Flatten them and smooth the edges. Or you can shape it with a mold. Any mold works, like a cookie cutter. I have the circle container. I'm just gonna stuff some potatoes in and smooth all the edges with a spoon, making sure there's no gaps and holes inside it. This is probably the most ideal way to shape a hash brown, because you can make the size exact and keep the shape intact. To get it out of the mold, just squeeze the edges like this and tap the top a bit, and there. Since the potatoes have oil in it, it won't stick. For the ones without the mold, as you can see, there's a lot of jaggedy edges there. We can fix that with a spoon. Try tightening the edges like this. The bits will fall off in the frying process if you don't do this. And also try smoothing the top to make the surface even. Finally, we can move on to storing it in the freezer. Here I have a plastic container, and I'm gonna line it with some plastic wrap. Or you can use parchment paper, but I'm too lazy to grab it. Okay, so this is actually a plastic bag, so I'm just gonna cut it into single sheets. Cut one side, cut the other side, and cut in half. We're gonna lay one half into the bottom like this. Make sure it's all flat. Then you can place your hash browns in. Add another, and another. Second half of the plastic goes in. Add a hash brown, and another, and another. Right, so we can put that in the freezer and grab some hash browns whenever we want to. Transition. So now we're gonna fry our hash browns. I'll be using my non-stick wok, but you can use anything. Pour in some vegetable oil. Any oil is fine. Don't use olive oil though, it smells bad for deep frying. Grab a couple of hash browns. You'll know if the oil is hot enough if you put in a hash brown and then you can see bubbles, and boom, there goes one hash brown. Now don't put the next hash brown in just yet. Until the first hash brown bubbles like this, you can put in the next one. Same goes for the next and the next. Second one's bubbling up, now we put the third one in. If we put all the frozen hash browns in at once, the temperature of the oil will drop immediately. Make sure the hash browns get some distance, otherwise they'll stick like this. If they do stick together, don't try to break them apart just yet, otherwise they'll just break apart in the oil and the hash browns will be broken. Okay, here I'm trying to break them apart with some chopsticks. I think it's working for the first one. The other two are still sticking to each other, so I'm just gonna leave it like that. Now occasionally flip them until both sides are golden brown. Oh, and as you can see, I'm also splashing some oil on top of the hash browns to ensure even browning. Once they're finished cooking, you can set it aside to a cooling rack and wait for them to cool. I wouldn't recommend to fry until that dark though, because it tasted a little burnt for me. Finally, you can just serve the hash browns like that. You could eat it with mustard and ketchup. Honestly, those were just there for the thumbnail. I make hash browns at home because it's crispier and I get to have a lot of it. McDonald's ain't bad, but hash browns is better homemade. Stick around for more recipes soon.